Making money online is the ultimate dream for many. Not having a boss, being able to quit your job, having the financial freedom and the freedom of time and the freedom to travel is absolutely lucrative. But now, how do you make it work in 2022? As a $500,000 passive online business owner, I'd love to share with you my top 5 tips on how you could start making money in 2022 online. My name is Darius Lucas and I'm a writer, entrepreneur, and an occasional samurai in training. And this channel is here for us to discuss and talk about and explore how to grow your business and life one story and one word at a time. So let's start with the first tip, your number 1 skill. The truth is that making money online doesn't start with making money online, as ironic as it sounds. It starts with you first identifying your top 1 skill that you can monetize, that can add value to the market, that people want you to be helping them with. This is the very beginning of making money online. What I see often happen with those that are just starting out, wanting to build their businesses, they do identify their top 1 skill. And for example, they share with me that they are now going to go into copywriting and they're going to be a copywriter. Well, that's good, but now it's not good enough because it's way too broad, and specificity is rewarded. Being specific and detailed is always rewarded. What I mean by that is that instead of saying, I am going to be a copywriter, you need to ask yourself, where can you specialize in? What sort of niche can you focus on? And as basic and common and talked about as it sounds, it's true. It will be much easier for you to get your first client if you, for example, say that you are now a copywriter for accountants, because all accountants have social media presence and they need, copy, blogging, Facebook ads, and so on. And if you say that you are now going to be a copywriter for accountants, that is definitely much easier to be marketing to and approaching. You might also decide to be writing copy for yoga studio owners and gym owners and really focus on the fitness industry. And this is where your expertise will lie. And once you get your first couple of clients, you will then be able to use that as an asset in terms of building your online presence, in terms of attracting many more clients. So making money online starts with your top 1 monetizable skill that you can take and go out there and sell to people. Now, if you're finding value in this video and you're already having ideas how you could be putting yourself out there and starting your business and starting to make money online, and if you're wanting more of this type of advice, click like, click subscribe, leave a comment, because this enables me to be making more of these awesome videos. And now we move on to tip number 2. Don't waste time on social media, get that client. So what I often see that whenever people decide to start a business, once they decide to make money online, what they first do is start posting on social, and they start really focusing on their social media profiles, building out a website, which takes them months and months to put out, if not a year, or they would be starting a YouTube channel or a podcast. Now, all of this is awesome. It's definitely needed. It definitely has a time and place in your business. But what I would say that if you are at the start of your journey, if you are at the point where you just want to start making money online, instead of venturing into all these things that are going to take you time, which I call a marathon strategy, because it's a long-term plan, it's a long-term strategy to be building out a YouTube channel, to be developing a website, to be posting on social and building a following. That's a long-term strategy. But a lot of the time, people do not have patience or budget actually, or time to be able to be focusing on that, and they want to get that first client. So when you start out, you want to be applying a sprint strategy, which means getting out there and getting that first client. So for example, as we discussed in the previous section where I said that you first identify your skill. And for example, you decided to position yourself as a copywriter who helps accountants. Now, what you can do is you can now start approaching all the accountants in your town. The whole idea is to make money online, but it's very, very easy for you to approach people in your local area because you know their problems, you know their issues. You can really call up 10 accountants and ask about their social media presence. You can ask them about how they're getting on with their advertising and offer your services. And it's very, very likely that after those 10 calls or those 10 emails or conversations on Messenger, that you will see you are already signing a client or two. Now, with that achievement, with those couple of clients under your belt, not literally, figuratively, you are now able to not only be making money, but also spending and dedicating some time to actually building up your website and your social media presence and attracting clients that way. You can also be using these two clients as your testimonials, as your success stories, and using them to market and attract new clients. So you see how you've started with your top one monetizable skill. You then decided on the niche that you are going to focus on. And then lastly, once you approached a bunch of people, you got those one or two clients, and you are now able to start really focusing on your marathon strategy, where you are planning out a long-term strategy for your business and for making money online. So what I often see with those starting out is that people decide to very early on put out their online course. But the truth is, it's extremely hard to sell your online course when you are just starting out and you do not have your following yet. So this is where I always bring in this concept of magnifying and multiplying. So what do I mean by that? When you're putting out your online course, it's a multiply strategy. You're multiplying your time, you're multiplying your value in a sense of packaging your knowledge and selling it to many people who want it. Now, the way you get to that point of multiplying at the very start as a solopreneur is that ideally you would have built up your clientele and you would have reached a point where you simply do not have enough time to service all of these clients. And in order to help them, you are now packaging your knowledge into an online course and taking this multiply strategy path. This is very important to note. So when you start out, you want to be using the Magnify strategy. And what do I mean by that is that you want to be attracting client after client. And once you have a small pool of clients and you see that you're quite stable with them and you're still getting new people coming your way, you want to first be increasing your rates. Whether you're charging hourly, whether you have packages, but you want to be increasing the value of your time. And ideally, you would be not charging by the hour. You would probably be packaging your time in terms of services that you're providing, and you would be leveraging that way. Now, at a certain point, you might slowly want to start shifting towards the multiply strategy, where you might be packaging the knowledge that you have and selling it. You might be creating your mentoring programs, or you might be hiring your team and getting your team to work with clients and multiplying that way. But what I would say is that in order to multiply, in order to do these fun things as putting out an online course and then sleeping and waiting for the money to come your way, unfortunately, you have to do the hard work of finding your first client and building up your client base, which then allows you that freedom of having an online course, of building that business. And everything that I'm sharing in this video is exactly what I've done and what I followed in building up my language school and my mentoring business. Number 4, tap into online resources. Now, going back to the idea of starting out and making money from the get-go, I would say that instead of building out a website or focusing hours and hours on your social media, you first want to use online platforms and resources in a very specific and a very targeted way in order to attract clients. So what you can do is you can go on such websites as Fiverr.com or Elance and other freelancer websites where you can put up your services and try and sell your services that way and find the clients coming to you. You want to start posting on social media, but do that in a very targeted way where you're putting out a post and you're making it very clear that you're taking on new clients, you've started this service, you've started this business, and you're looking to work with these specific people or these specific businesses, so that your posts on social do not take up masses of time, but you're simply letting your network know that you're now taking on clients. You then also want to go into Facebook groups and communities on Facebook and find, for example, as we referred to this idea of if you're a copywriter who's going to work with accountants, you might go into some Facebook groups for accountants and connecting up with some accountants on those Facebook groups. If you are going to work with small business owners, you might want to go and find those Facebook groups. And the easiest is to start with your local community, your local town, wherever you live right now. Find those Facebook groups and find even the physical meetups, because those happen often as well, and they are announced on those Facebook groups, so that you can go into those events and actually network and sell your services and build your clientele very gradually that way, and move every single of those clients online. And what you will often see that those clients will then be referring you to their friends and their colleagues in their industry. So you'd be able to sort of be very gradually building your presence and your client list that way. And finally, we got to tip number 5, grow your presence online. So as you see, this comes last, or this comes later in the process of making money online, contrary to what maybe other people sort of preach online or what you see happen. I would say that once you've got those couple of clients, once you've got some income coming in, once you actually validated your business concept, your number one skill, once you understood that the market needs it, you can then see and think how to position that and how to put it out in the market. But what I would say is very important, that when you go to build your website, you do not spend months and months in that process. Make it as simple as possible. Start with one landing page, max 2. If you then venture into social media, pick one channel that you're focusing on. Pick the channel that you think your audience hangs out on. If your clients are younger, then obviously go for TikTok. If you see that your clients are a little older, or for example, are the accountants that we talked about, maybe consider LinkedIn or Facebook. So really consider what you're going to be focusing on. And I say that because people get it wrong a lot of the time, where they start focusing on the content, they start focusing on how the things look, and then they forget to actually grow the business. In all honesty, I had the most horrible website for my language school for years. And even up to this day, honestly, it's not like the most pretty website ever, but we always focused on growing the client list. For example, we have over 1,000 clients, and the clients come through various channels. So they do not necessarily even go onto the website, and they do not necessarily check out the website. You have to be very, very strategic how you reach your client, and you have to sort of rewire that understanding. So whatever helps you build a direct connection to your client and get that client interested in your services, do that. And only later on, I would say, once you build up your client base, once you have that financial base, maybe once you have your team, you are able to then start producing some passive content, putting out some videos, writing a blog in a more extensive manner, and running that marathon strategy, multiplying that value that we talked about earlier in the video, multiplying the value of your time by, putting out an online course, by starting a mentoring group, and so on. But at the very, very start, be very strategic how you're using social, how you're building out your website. So we've covered the top 5 tips that I would do, that I would follow, that I actually followed when I started out to build a business and to start making money online. And if sometimes they sound a bit simplistic or not as glamorous as other people make it sound, I apologize, but I think these are the right steps that can actually get you making money online today, tomorrow, in the next month. If you like this video, do not forget to click like, to click subscribe, to leave a comment, to share what was your biggest takeaway from this video, and I will see you in the next video very soon.